Hey everybody, Ian here. And as we all sit in quarantine, I think a lot of us are spending too much time on the computer, probably more than what we would normally. And most of us are not at our normal desk setup, so we can get into some pretty bad postures. And it's going to affect our neck, our shoulders, and just tension in general. So, some quick tips on what to do. Um, First and foremost, I think, is trying to set up the best posture that you can. So, I go by the rule of 90s. So think of 90 degrees at your elbows, and even right here, my desk is not set up appropriately. So you want to try to get to sitting up nice and tall, 90 degrees at your elbows, 90 degrees at your hips, 90 degrees at your knees, and then your keyboard should be kind of right there. So you see, if I use my laptop, my elbows are bent a little bit more than, or a little less, depending upon how you're looking at it, than 90 degrees. So actually, it's not optimal, but I'm doing the best I can. So ideally, what I would want to do is get something that I could sit on that would raise me up a little bit. So when I put a cushion, it brings me up a little bit, and now my elbows are more at 90 degrees. So try to get your body in the right position to start, and then whether you're using a laptop or a desktop, desktops are better because you can keep the keys here, and then the monitor will be up here. So I tell people, if you stick out your arm, your monitor should be in line with your wrist crease. So that'll ensure that you can sit up nice and tall without feeling like you need to peer forward. So that forward head posture is what we all get into, which compresses our spine and puts our muscles in our shoulders on a stretch, which makes them weak, and then it'll make them go into spasms, try to protect themselves. So if you have a desktop setup, that's great because you can split up the keyboard, have the mouse right next to you, and then that monitor about your wrist crease away and a little bit elevated. So I like people, depending upon the size of your monitor, let's just say you're using like a normal kind of 15, 17 inch monitor, the bottom corner of that monitor should be in line with your wrist crease. So it might need to be lifted up a little bit. Again, making sure that you're not getting into that rounded forward position. If you do have to use a laptop, set it up for your keys and then tilt the screen back. And when you look, you want to feel like you're looking down, almost kind of giving yourself a double chin. And look down with your eyes versus getting into that forward position, because that forward position is what puts a lot of stress on your neck. The other thing that I recommend to people throughout the day is to set a timer on your device that you're using for every 30 minutes. Every 30 minutes, do a posture check. Make sure that you're not in that forward position. So the alarm goes off, kind of see where you're at. If you're in the wrong position, get into the right position, and then get back to work. And then eventually, over time of that reminder constantly going off, you're going to be in the right position when it goes off. So you just need something to remind you to not get into those constant positions for prolonged periods of time, whether it be an hour, hour and a half. We don't realize how long we sit in that bad position. The other thing that you can do every 30 minutes is get into that right position. Make sure you're there, and then just get up. Go get a drink of water. Just get out of that seated position. Sitting for too long is really bad for our lower back. Puts a lot of pressure on our lumbar spine, so we want to make sure that we're not staying in those seated, stagnant positions for too long. It's just not good for our spine or for our mental health. So give yourself a mental break. Give yourself a body break, posture check. So that 30-minute timer is actually really important. So there's a couple tips just to how to get your desk set up, and then I'm going to give you a couple exercises that you can do that will help to get you out of that forward position, get your neck into the right position, get your posture into the right position, and try to keep us as healthy as possible as we quarantine through this COVID crisis. So that's coming up. Here we go. All right, so now we're talking about exercises that you can do in your house to get you out of that forward position. So that forward position I'm talking about is when we sit, our shoulders round forward, and then we're not going to look at the ground all day, so we bring our head up. So I'm obviously over-exaggerating a little bit. We're not all Quasimodo with a big hump on our back, but the more your spine gets rounded forward, the more it compresses your cervical spine, and your shoulders get rounded forward. The muscles that attach at your shoulder blades go from your spine out to the shoulder blades. So if that muscle is constantly stretched out, a stretched out muscle knows, one, it doesn't know this, but one, it's going to be weak, and two, it knows neurologically it's not sitting in the right position. So if your muscle is meant to be yay short, but it's stretched out, it's going to create muscle knots. Think of a muscle knot as just a shortening of the muscle. It's not a good shortening, though. It makes it mechanically dysfunctional. So your body's trying to get that shoulder blade back to where it's meant to be. So if we can get the muscles to work the way that they're supposed to and get to the positions that we're supposed to be in, that will allow those muscle knots to kind of naturally dissolve themselves. So one of the simplest things that you can do, I'm going to show you a couple of exercises that you can do regardless of having an equipment. All you need is a wall, and everybody's got a wall in their house. I'm sure right now you feel like you want to bang your head against the wall, but let's use it for a more functional purpose, and let's do some exercise against it. So, like we talked about in the last video, every 30 minutes when you get up, this is something that you can add into that routine, again, to get you out of that forward rounded position. So find a wall that you can just kind of sit against. You want your feet about a foot away from the wall. Try to get your body flat to the wall, head back to the wall. So you want to feel like you're gluing your spine back against the wall. And I apologize for being so far away from the screen. I'm sure you can still see. This is the best that I can do with what I have. But anyways, so back against the wall. And then you want to feel like you bring your arms up, okay? So that's going to get our chest opened up. You want to feel like you press everything back into the wall, and your spine should stay as flat as you can. So if you were to look at me from the side, everything from my head, my shoulders, my back, my hands and my elbows are all touching the wall. So you want to just try to get into this position and just breathe. And honestly, try to hold it for as long as you can comfortably. And it should feel like it's probably a little bit of a challenge, which is okay. Once you feel like you can't hold it anymore, just bring your arms down, do a little break. So one more simple exercise that you can do is if you face a door, and then put your hands up on it, stay close, and then with your forehead against the door, you just want to feel like you're reaching your arms off, and then reach your other arm off. So that way it'll work on that posterior shoulder strength to get you into the right position. So forehead against the wall, feet close, reach back, hold for a second, reach back, hold for a second. So it's all to get us out of that forward position. So that should help you to get into better positions, take stress off your neck, get better posture, and help you to stay healthy throughout this whole coronavirus pandemic. If you have any questions, please reach out. Otherwise, I hope you're staying healthy and staying safe, and hopefully we'll get outside soon. Thanks for watching.